Ladies and gentlemen, Strawsy here, and today I'm going to be presenting to you the top weapons in Dark Souls 3 PvP. In this video, I'm going to be going over half of the weapon classes in the game, explaining their strengths and weaknesses, and then showing you the top weapons of each class. Now, all the weapons shown in this list have been selected for learning curve, versatility, damage, and overall effectiveness in PvP. Now, without further ado, let's start top weapons in Dark Souls 3, Part 1. In this video, we're going to be going in the order of dagger, straightsword, greatsword, ultra greatsword, axe, great axe, hammer, great hammer, and we'll be saving the rest for Part 2. So, let's begin with the first weapon type. Currently, in the beautiful world of the Dark Souls PvP meta, daggers are used as a supplementary weapon for weapons that have less than 472 AR in order to deal extra repose damage, but as a standalone weapon, daggers are just trash. Now, daggers do have the unique quick-step ability, which is shared among most of the daggers in the game. But the problem with the quick-step ability is it's mostly used for gimmicks, and it almost never really has any true practical use. While the reverse quickstep can be used in conjunction against heavy weapons, it is not really viable in PvP as a whole. The final point that really nails a coffin into daggers is their piss-poor base damage and scaling. Because of this, daggers are not meant as a standalone weapon in PvP, but they're more used for supplements that help repose damage. Unlike daggers, straightswords have a whole host of weapons in PvP that are extremely viable and very, very effective. Straightswords have high damage with great scaling, super fast R1s, and an overall excellent one-handed moveset. Straightsword is a class where you can choose almost any weapon in this category and you will kick ass. But of the straightswords, there are two weapons that really stand out and can really give you an edge in PvP. But what really makes straightswords viable? It is lag. A little bit more lag. And finally, some really big lag. All Miyazaki memes aside, lag truly is the fundamental aspect that makes straightswords as strong as they are now. Now, what lag does in PvP, since most PvP games you fight will have at least half a second of lag, is lag will give the straightswords approximately a dagger's length more in reach. For those of you new to the Dark Souls 3 PvP scene, reach is one of the fundamental aspects in PvP that ensures victory. Reach is the ability to hit your opponent from farther distances while keeping yourself safe from your opponent's punishment. Now, by this theory, the longest straightsword is definitely the strongest straightsword. And right now, the best and longest straightsword is the one and only infamous Darksword. The Darksword is and has been known as one of the strongest weapons in PvP ever since the launch of this game. Darksword has been nerfed somewhat, so it isn't as good as it is before, but it's still the king of single-bladed straightswords. The Darksword has insane reach for a straightsword. Even though it has slightly higher stamina consumption, this isn't a problem. The Darksword can do massive damage, and you can combo multiple R1s, which are lightning fast. Now, the optimal way to use the Darksword is in its one-handed moveset. Its two-handed moveset is not as useful, even though the Stomp skill can have some merit at some moments. Its weapon art is pretty lackluster and doesn't truly get the job done as its one-handed moveset does. For good damage on the Darksword, I recommend you go with the Quality Infusion and 40 Dex, 40 Strength for even scaling in both these attributes. And in order to truly counter the Darksword, either go with a highly long-range halberd or a weapon that is really strong hyper armor. The second top weapon in this class is the dual-bladed Gothard twin swords. Like most straight swords, Gothards are very well suited to an aggressive playstyle, and they have a lightning fast rolling R1. Now, the test I'm showing you on the screen is of the refined Gothard twin swords weapon art, which has 4 consecutive hits and does massive damage, close to 746 on a refined Gothards. Now, all the tests are done with 40 Dex, 40 Strength, and the character I'm doing them against is my good friend Nova Wolf, who is using a character with 99 vitality, so the damage number should reflect against like many of the popular armors used in PvP today. When using Gothards, it is recommended to go with the Quality Infusion and use buffs for even more damage. Also, when using Gothards, it's recommended to open with either the Rolling R1 or a Weapon Art to deal massive damage. Gothard also has some very fast R1s, and its L1 combo is nothing to miss out on either. Remember to mix up and overall change your moves to prevent against parries. Gothards is one of the most versatile weapons that you can use, and you can use it to great efficiency in PvP. Now, where do we start with this class? The only thing I have to say is, what was FromSoft thinking? So, in order to find out, I hacked FromSoft's caller database, and I found something very interesting that I'd like you all to listen to. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Okay, good. I got it. Here, I'll play it for you guys. The audio clip I'm about to show you is between Miyazaki and an unknown employee. Miyazaki has just been done deep-throating moldy shrooms and gargling some black ice meth. Moshi Mosh? Oh, it's you, Miyazaki-san. That's right, kid. Now, Miyazaki-san, you sound awfully deep today. Yeah, I do. Now just listen. I have a great idea. It's come from the mastermind, Miyazaki himself, so you know it's good. Now, this idea is we're gonna bring back one of the weapons from Darksouls 2. You know? That sounds like a great Miyazaki. What do you even say? Great? That doesn't make any... Just stop. Okay, now, we're gonna bring back one of the best weapons from Dark Souls 2, the Greatsword class, okay? Now, I want 10 Greatswords done by tomorrow, as fast as you can, okay? As fast as you can. Not the Ultra Greatswords, don't mess it up like last time. Don't mess up the Ultra Greatswords. I want a Greatsword class. Now, just fuck it. Just make it all the same, like, just reskin it, and then have, like, 1 or 2 unique Greatswords. Like, that's all you need. The fans will be happy. Add some fan service, too. Like, bring back the Moonlight Greatsword and make it trash, and then buff it in a later update, okay? But Miyazaki-san, we pride ourselves in making the Dark Souls games unique. Screw that, okay? Screw that. It seems that we experienced technical difficulties before, but anyway, let's move on. Now, the Ultra Greatsword class is one of the most diverse classes in Dark Souls 3. This has given us one of the most widest ranges we will see in this video. Now, the Greatsword class is unique in that it has weapons that are effective defensively, but can also be used offensively. The Ultra Greatsword class is easily countered by halberds due to their extreme range, and katanas due to their fast-running R1s that can slip at the last second to hit you when your hyper armor ends. The first weapon we'll be looking at is the Astor's Greatsword. Now, this weapon has an insanely high damaging weapon art and has its cream of the crop bugged rolling R1. Its two-handed rolling R1 deals thrust damage even though it is a upward slashing attack, and can even do counter damage. This rolling R1 is also unparryable, and this is what makes this weapon really strong. Even though this is a glitch that may be patched later, it's still in the game, so you have to recognize it. This rolling R1 alone propels this weapon into the top tier, but other than that, it still has a great moveset and a great combo such as R1 weapon art, which you can use for massive damage. Be careful when using the weapon art because it can be parried, but this weapon excels in offensive and defensive combat. As with most infeasible melee weapons, I recommend going with Refined for more damage at 40 dex, 40 strength, and buffing for even more damage. Now, the Profane Greatsword is a monster. Its damage is almost comparable to that of the Black Knight Greataxe. It has a self buff after using its stomp skill. It can do close to 700 AR, and it just is ridiculous. Its stomp is so hard to avoid. Can catch people when they're rolling. It has a great rolling attack, an unparryable two-handed moveset, and just can be used really effectively as a defensive weapon to keep people out of range. It's also one of the lightest greatswords in the game. The only greatsword being lighter would be the Store Greatsword. This weapon is also one of the top PvE weapons, but its PvP abilities alone keep it in the top tier. Out of all the greatswords, this is the most unique and most variable greatsword in the game. Now, this greatsword has a very varied moveset with the infamous fast L1 that is pretty difficult to parry. Now, this weapon comes in with a built-in parry feature, which allows you to counter many popular weapons in the game. Now, since this weapon has a really fast L1 attack, it eliminates the greatsword's fast weapon katana weakness, but it still leaves room for the halberds. Now, this weapon is very, very effective against fast weapons, but not as effective against hyper armor weapons and halberds. Now, the optimal way to use this weapon is to use a third L1 to catch people during rolls by manually aiming, and to time your L1s properly, because using it out in the open leaves you as a sitting duck, because your opponent can counter you and punish you while you're in the middle of that animation, as recovery is fairly long. In order to improve with this weapon, I suggest you work on spacing and timing. Now, axes in this game are fairly bad, because axes have the damage of straight swords, but they just don't have the variability and the lightning fast R1s, so they're not able to compete. So it's always better to choose a straight sword over an axe. Now, great axes are actually very, very bad for the most part, until you come to the cream of the crop. The problem with great axes is that they are slow, are easy to backstab through, almost always do strike damage, and normally don't have great weapon arts. Great axes share the weaknesses of great swords in that they are weak to halberds and katanas with fast running R1s such as the watching pole. Thank God, Miyazaki, you did something right. Black Knight Great Axe was trash tier in Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2, but now it is God tier. This weapon deals massive damage and has the unique moveset that is synonymous with almost all the Black Knight weapons in this game. Its one-handed R2 is a jumping attack, and its two-handed R2 is a chargeable, throwing someone into the air attack. Now, this weapon also comes with the weapon skill Warcry that changes up its R2 moveset even further and increases damage. This weapon's one-handed moveset has wide slashes that can catch people in rolls, and its two-handed moveset is unparryable. If you're looking for a great axe, this is your great axe. This great axe has the best of both worlds and incorporates the most varied and unpredictable moveset of the greataxes. I'm going to be as blunt as possible. Hammers are trash. Great hammers are trash. That's how it is. They have one of the worst movesets in the game. Almost only have strike damage. Some of them even do less damage than straight swords. Hammers don't have the reach. The only hammer worth using is the Drang Twin Hammers because they have a great combo. But the problem with the Drang Twin Hammers is you'll almost never hit that combo against a moderately good player. The Great Hammers make up for the hammer's lack of reach by adding reach, but they're so slow that you can't do shit, and they only do strike damage. And their moveset is, of course, very, very limited. Thank you so much for watching. It truly means a lot to me if you made it to the end. Now, I want you guys to comment down below if you would like to change any of the weapons on this list right now. I haven't covered all the weapon types yet. Part 2 is coming out soon. And also comment below on whether you would like to add weapons onto this list as well. Now, I'd like to give a shout out to everyone who helped me make this video, including Double E, who played Miyazaki in the skit, and Nova Wolf, who helped out test out the weapons. Nova Wolf's channel is Nova Wolf Gaming. I hope you guys go and check him out. This is my first time really editing a video completely by myself, so I appreciate it if you guys also left some constructive criticism in the comments below to tell me how I could better present my information to you guys. And I'd appreciate if you guys left a like and subscribed, because this video took forever to make, and it really took a lot of time. This is Strawzier signing out.